This is Inside Arkansas Politics, a We the People, For the People movement with Courtney Roland, an Arkansas voice you can trust for truth and transparency.
Hello, this is Courtney Roldan with Inside Arkansas Politics. On my first episode, I talked about the Arkansas Abortion Amendment, and I was encouraging people to decline to sign it. This amendment was an extreme abortion amendment. It would have allowed abortion up to birth in some situations. It allowed unrestricted abortion up to 20 weeks. It also did not require an abortion to be done by a licensed physician, and did not require consent from a parent for minors. So it was very extreme, and there was a lot of misinformation. I believe people were misled by the name of the group, which was Arkansans for Limited Government. They framed this as limited government, medical freedom, reproductive health, all of the things. Many people want medical freedom and limited government. I mean, obviously, we want to be able to make our own health decisions. But the point they're missing is that when it's a baby, it is not your life. It is that baby's life. But in Arkansas, we are a pro-life state, and abortion is not something the majority would like in their Arkansas Constitution. So for months, we had pro-life people. They contacted others. They showed up at signing events. They put out flyers. They put up signs. I know people who went door to door hanging door hangers on doors so that people would know these signatures are being gathered, and we want you to know that this is actually an extreme abortion amendment. This is not just medical freedom or whatever they try to tell you. This is actually unrestricted abortion up to 18 weeks or 20 weeks. And also it has so many exceptions that it absolutely would have allowed abortion up to birth. There were a lot of people who were very instrumental in getting the word out from texting and emailing, calling, showing up at these signings, holding signs. They would hold signs that said decline to sign, or I know there was a few that said adoption, the loving option, and life is the first inalienable right. There was just a mixture, all with the same message. We do not agree with abortion. We are pro-life. We protect the unborn. This amendment is dangerous. And so many people did a great job. They really worked hard. I know a lot of people worked day in and day out trying to find out where these signings were, to make sure that there were volunteers there. It was a lot of work. I know a few people who really put in a lot of hours. Vicki Parker, who is a good friend of mine, she is the president of Options Pregnancy Center. She lived and breathed this amendment. This was something that she was strongly against, and she did everything in her power to try to stop people from signing, to get out the information so that they knew what they were signing. Also, Candy Cox is a good friend, and she has an adoption agency. She worked really hard. And then Pierce Renfro, he started a group called Arkansans for Life, which is on Facebook. So if you want to stay up to date on what is going on with the abortion amendment, I would definitely suggest following Arkansans for Life on Facebook. So the legislature, so we have a supermajority here. All the constitutional officers are Republicans. So there was a special session recently, and there was a resolution passed that the state legislature was in opposition to this abortion amendment. Other than that, it was kind of disappointing to see how many, we have elected Republicans across the state, and so many were just so quiet on this. Yeah, they passed the resolution. They may have posted on Facebook, but from what I witnessed, very few actually went out and tried to inform the public. Maybe they did. I'm not saying they did not. I'm just saying what I witnessed is it was regular people that are pro-life, that strongly disagreed with this abortion amendment, getting out, holding signs, and contacting their friends and family and getting the information out. I saw people as young as, there was 14-year-olds that were spending hours out in the hot sun, holding signs, giving out information. it was actually pretty amazing to see how many people did come together to just work on this grassroots effort to try to stop this. The two legislators that I know did show up to signings, held signs, and tried to do what they could. Was I know Mary Bentley, she did, and Carolyn Brown was at a signing that I was at. It just, we have so many Republicans in this state. We have a Republican committee in 74 out of 75 counties, and it just seemed like we should not have that many problems trying to get volunteers to go to these signings, to contact people. And it was just a lot harder than what I expected. Last month, I did email the Republican Party of Arkansas chair and the president of the Arkansas Federation of Republican Women. The president of the Republican Women's Club, he did respond, and they allowed us to put together something, and they sent it out to all of their email contacts. So I was grateful for that. The Republican Party chair, I never heard back from. I thought that was pretty disappointing, just because when the Republican Party is the party of pro-life. I mean, it's in our platform. The Republican Party of Arkansas platform is very strong on protecting life. I don't want to speculate why he didn't return the email, but we hear a lot about unifying and how we should be unified with the whole party. The one thing that should unify every Republican in Arkansas should be protecting the unborn. It should be protecting babies and being pro-life. That should be the one factor that unifies us all, and that we should all be willing to do something. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. And that was disappointing to not even get a response. But like I said, I don't want to speculate why. I just know that I expected to hear back, and I expected help to get the message out. We were trying to get people across the state to make calls and try to tell people about the amendment, to just make them aware that in their county that there's going to be people there gathering signatures. So that was really all we were trying to do. And I was doing it as a favor for someone who had wanted some help. July 5th was the date that there was 6 petitions in Arkansas. And so on July 5th, there were several turned in, but I'm just focusing on the abortion one. But several of us were at the state capitol. We had heard that they had, the abortion group put out that they had met their signature requirement. They had qualified in, I think, 53 counties, because there is you have to have a certain amount or a certain percent per county, and also a goal of 90,704 signatures. And for the Secretary of State to even verify those signatures, it has to have both of those requirements met. So they had claimed that they had met those requirements. So there was a group of pro-life people out. There wasn't a lot at the state capitol just to hold signs when they brought their petitions in. I was there. I did not expect what I witnessed. We got there, and it was, there wasn't a lot of people there yet. And then after probably about 20 minutes, you started hearing like yelling, cheering, and then slowly more people started filtering up to where they were turning them in at. And it ended up being basically a circus. It was a complete ridiculous spectacle. They had people there with one girl, she had her like fallopian tubes tattooed on her stomach, I believe, and she had her shirt up, and they were very aggressive. You could tell a little hostile, pushing people, getting in our faces, just trying to cause issues. But they definitely outnumbered us. I think that, if I had to guess, I would say they had at least 80 people right there with our maybe 20. And when the people brought in what they had to turn in, their affidavit and everything, that they were so loud. They were cheering and yelling. There was people crying, and they were yelling, "This is what democracy looks like." And it was sad to me, kind of disturbing that people are that excited about being able to have an abortion. Don't really understand. I don't really understand. I mean, disappointed that they did get those signatures, but also sad because just seeing that on display it was just disturbing. I don't know another word, but it was disturbing. I've never seen that level of basically mockery of human life. Just not something I personally ever want to have to be around again. So that would probably be the last time I ever show up at something like that, as far as being there when they are clearly going to come in and make a huge spectacle and mockery of it. It was disturbing and disgusting. I was very just disgusted, a little heartbroken that was even going on. I don't know people who cheer on abortion. I've never met people like that. I still don't know any of these people personally, thankfully. So that day, it was a disappointment, and it was, we knew that it was they turned in, I think, a little over 101,000 signatures, so they bypassed the minimum. So I personally did feel like this is going to be a battle. We're going to have to we're going to have to do a campaign against this. It's going to be a long couple months because, we've got to get the voters to understand what this is. I just felt that we were just in for a real battle to try to defeat it. And after the months of trying to keep them from getting signatures, it was a little disappointing. I just assumed that they probably would make it on the ballot. If I was doing a petition and obviously they had a lot of people who were very passionate about abortion for some reason. I would make sure that I did everything, dotted every I, crossed every T. There would be no mistakes because I would have someone check me 10 times. If I had 101,000 people depending on that being turned in and the paperwork being done properly. So I kind of felt defeated. I felt like, okay, well, that is that, and we will be fighting that on the ballot in November. I was very shocked on July 10th when someone sent me a post that the Secretary of State had rejected the abortion petition. So I didn't really understand exactly what was going on. I was cautiously excited. I didn't want to get too excited because the minute I did, I was afraid, well, sorry, that was a mistake. They actually did turn it in. But I talked to many people who said, the Secretary of State and the Attorney General have gone through this paperwork. They know the law. This has been looked over by the legal team. It is rejected, and it is over for now. Obviously, the group can sue, and they can fight it. Clearly, they have all these people who depend on them, and so if they didn't fight it, they would just kind of, I'm pretty sure that their own people would probably be rioting against them. So they did file a letter to the Secretary of State saying, we did turn in all of our paperwork. And basically, you are not following the law. You have to still count. So I was a little that was yesterday that they did their reply. This is Friday when I'm recording this. So on Thursday, they did send a reply to the Secretary of State's office. And there are a lot of rules and laws to follow when you are doing this because it's something that will alter our Arkansas Constitution. It shouldn't be super easy. It's going to be meticulous, and you're going to have a lot of paperwork that you have to sign and make sure that everything is done properly. So I do feel confident at this point that for now, the Arkansas Abortion Amendment is over, and we should not be seeing it on the ballot in November. I would be shocked to find out that changes. I do know that they will probably sue, but we have a good Secretary of State, and I believe that he knows what he's doing, and this is probably, clearly they're going to sue or whatever other legal options they have. I'm sure they're going to do whatever they can, but I do feel confident that they did not fill out the paperwork properly. So also this week, the Republican National Convention starts on I believe, July 15th. But some of the committees have met and they've done some different things. Well, earlier this week, I think on Wednesday, the platform committee met and there was a new RNC platform adopted from the committee. I think there was 19 that voted against it. And I know that there's at least one in Arkansas who has signed on to the minority report, which states basically we disagree with removing protecting the unborn from our platform. And so that's Senator Jim Dotson. He did sign the minority report, so we do appreciate that. I do not use the Republican National Committee platform to guide my principles or morals. I don't think anyone does. If you need something to guide your principles and morals, it should always be the Bible. It should not be any group's platform or rules, whatever it is. But it is disappointing to see the Republican Party, the party of pro-life, the party who has always had protecting the unborn in their platform, to now kind of water it down and basically become weak on that aspect. So I'm disappointed in that. I disagree with removing that. When I go to vote, I vote for the candidate who most closely aligns with my beliefs, and that is the Republican Party. And even though the Republican National Committee platform does not necessarily talk about protecting the unborn, there is 16 pages of the platform. There's 20 bullet points, so that has been put out. And most people, they're just reading those 20 bullet points, if we're being honest. They're not going through and reading the 16 pages. They're not reading where where it's elaborated on a little bit. And so in those 20 bullet points, it does not mention protecting life or being pro-life or anything like that. The 2024 Republican platform on life, it says, Republicans will protect and defend a vote of the people from within the states on the issue of life. We proudly stand for families and life. We believe that the 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States guarantees that no person can be denied life or liberty without due process, and that the states are therefore free to pass laws protecting those rights. After 51 years, because of us, the power has been given to the states and to a vote of the people. We oppose late-term abortion while supporting mothers and policies that advance prenatal care, access to birth control, and IVF. Definitely, I know that what they're getting at, I know what the point is. It has, Roe versus Wade was overturned. It's gone back to the states. The states are now making their own laws, which was why it's so important that Arkansas remains pro-life, because now it is up to the states. So I get that. I get the reasoning. I don't like it. I think that if we're going to be weak on protecting life, then it just makes our platform weaker. I mean, I agree on the other, the border and the economy, all of that. It is a great presidential agenda. It is not a platform that talks about the principles and values of the Republican Party. And that's just my opinion. I do not like it. If this is the president's agenda, if this is President Trump's agenda, I like it. If it's the Republican platform, it doesn't state the principles that the Republican Party stands for. So in Arkansas, our Republican Party platform is stronger than ever. It is very clear that the Republican Party of Arkansas stand for the unborn. We are pro-life. Arkansas Republican Party stands for life. So I am confident in the platform here in Arkansas that we passed on June 8th of this year. I just am not excited about removing one of the most important principles of the Republican Party from the platform. I think it should clearly state that we are pro-life. We should not be watering it down or taking a weak position or a moderate position on life. But like I said, the other parts I agree with. But we should have, left in that we are pro-life. We stand for the unborn. I hope that at the convention something is done. I've been told that the Republican National Convention is more or less like a scripted, kind of like a show. You get the speakers, you don't really get to voice your opinion a lot. I've never been, so I don't really know if that's the case or not, but I've heard from credible people that it is, and so I'm afraid that nothing will change, but I am hopeful that there are some people who are willing to make a bold statement and say, look, this is the Republican Party. We are the party of pro-life. We are the party who protects the unborn. It needs to state that principle in our platform very clearly and very strongly, and I'm hopeful that something good will come out of that, but we will see. I have several friends that are going to be at the convention, and so I should have some different information for you on that, hopefully. And so I will see you next time.